Hi all, sorry for the bit of a delay there. Thank you all for making the time today to attend our webinar on Claro 9 software. Alistair King, the Managing Director of Claro Software, will be our expert today, and we want to cover the software uses and also the features which can help support users in the corporate and education environment. Just some general housekeeping. If you do have any questions, can you kindly post them in the chat box, which you should all have access to. There will be a Q&A segment at the end of the webinar. We're also using Interact Streamer, so you should all have access to captioning, which you can find at the bottom of the screen and one of the icons to the right. Alistair, do you want to take it from there?
Sure, thanks very much. Oh, you can all see my beautiful face, so nice. We'll go with that. Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk today about Claro, particular Claro 9, which is the version of Claro for Windows that came out just this summer. I will touch on Claro for Mac, that's just been recently updated on our apps and things, but I'm going to concentrate mainly on Claro 9. And I'm going to do the marvelous thing of sharing my screen. There we go. We can see all the stuff that's running. There we go. Still working with us? Fantastic. So I've got a whole presentation, of course. So yeah, we're going to talk about things. If you don't know us, we're a British assistive technology company, about 15 years old. We've sold software for people with vision impairments, so screen readers, people with physical impairments, very limited movement operated by switches, various cognitive things, AAC devices. But we focus nowadays mainly on speech tech, OCR tech, things like that, for people with print impairments. So you're looking at somebody who's got some problems with dyslexia or stress related to problems processing print. Lots of text is difficult to work with. They find it hard to focus on tasks. The mountains of things we have to read and write and work with nowadays is stressful and difficult. People who stress about their own writing, their spelling, their ability to organize things. So we increasingly use text across different platforms, different environments, and our tools are intended to help people to work with all that text. We're now part of the Lingit family, who are also experts in dyslexia and spell check, and based in Norway. So that's very exciting. We've already started bringing in some of their technology, and also, I don't know if you can see this, going with them to very cold places. One of us got frostbite. So that's all good fun. We like to be very kind of open. We're quite technical, I would say nerdy. So if you go to our website, which is clarosoftware.com, then you should see, if I get, focus. Yeah, there's lots of information about us. You can see all of the people who work at the company. So to our website, about us, meet the team, and there's all the people that do stuff. And you can see what product they work on as well. If you particularly want to ask somebody about something, do message us, our email details are there. If you're looking at the actual product, say, I don't know, Claro.
Alistair, sorry, apologies for interrupting you. The captioning software is not, doesn't look like it's working from our end. Can you just make sure that the microphones are muted on the platform?
Sure thing. You can see my screen, so I'm just going to go to that, which will be in Chrome on this tab. Oh, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Looks like it's working now.
Fantastic. So if anyone, I will go quickly recap if anyone's relying on captions. Hi, I'm Alistair King. We're from Claro Software, UK assistive technology company. We work primarily with dyslexia and people with print impairments, people who struggle with reading and writing. And our tools are designed for that.
If you now close your screen, go back to Zoom so people can see this transcription on Zoom.
Yeah. Okay.
Just go back to the original Zoom screen that you had. It doesn't matter. Just carry on. Sorry. Because obviously, yeah. Thank you.
I don't mind if people see it. That's okay. So if you want to go to our website, we're very open. If you look at one of our products, scroll down, you can see the actual people who work on it, developers, product managers. So if you want to ask any questions, you want to go straight to people who actually work on a piece of software, just go to our website, find the website, and knock yourself out. We also do our development kind of up front. So we have a, if you go to our tech support pages, you can find a nice roadmap where we try to show what we're working on the next few months, and also what we have just recently shipped. Because we really love to get feedback from people. We really love to find out what's going on. So there's our kind of, you know, high level roadmap. And then here's what we're actually working on. Here's what we're going to ship in the next couple of weeks. Touch wood. Here's what we've got a few months away, and so on. You can find out more about what we're building, who's building it, and find out about that. We take the next level. If you're really interested in our stuff or dyslexia or assistive technology, we have an insider program. Do sign up for that. You can get versions of software before we ship them. You can feedback on things. We love to hear your input on things and speak directly to developers and tech people. So that's us. Here we go. We're AT company. We like AT. What's new? Claro 9. Claro's been our flagship kind of Windows product for many years, and I'll do my kind of quick run through for it, because I think it's always important to kind of look at the context or where we're coming from, which might not be right. There you go. So our premise is generally that if you're using a tool like Claro, what you want to be doing is getting on with the work you need to do. So your focus is writing your essay, proofing your emails. No, that's not wrong. Your focus is getting that essay handed in so that you can complete this course, that it's getting that email off to your boss or your contact or a salesperson that looks good and is professional and you're proud of, that's not stressing you out. So these are things you want to do. Those are your aims, and you're going to want to use the right tool for them, which is generally going to be mainstream applications like Adobe Reader, like Microsoft Word, like Chrome. You're probably not going to want to use a kind of special AT type tool. That's not necessarily appropriate for the kind of students and people in workplace that we're talking about. We have a range of stuff for schools, iPad apps, that kind of thing. But what we're mainly talking about here is kind of Windows software, and it's people who we want to be work with standard applications. So you want to be in Microsoft Word, but you have some problems with the text. You've typically got something like dyslexia, stress, some kind of visual cognitive issue that means writing lots of text, reading lots of text is stressful, it's slow, you don't perform at your best. So here we are. So you're in Word, bunch of text, you can see it okay, you're not blind, you don't need a screen reader, but you struggle with it. So here we come in. There's our toolbar, there's Claro Pro. So this is the kind of top end version of Claro. I've turned all the buttons on to show it's got lots of features, but I'll show you how to turn them off later.
Generic introduction. Claro Read is widely used to help with reading, writing, and more generally computer use and study. Alistair will give a brief overview of how it's...
There you go. So I can play through my Word document. It'll highlight as it goes along, and it speaks it using synthesized speech. That, in that case, a voice called Daniel. And we try and ship the very best voices we can find. Because if you think about how you actually use the software, again, most of the time, you don't want to be thinking about the software you're using. You want to be thinking about that essay you're writing or the email you're doing. So we try and ship a good range, a big range of the very best voices we can find, because then you can concentrate on actually the text rather than errors in the voice. So if I do this.
High quality voices are important in places like Milgai. Less good voices say Milgavidat. I shot my bow at the man as he began to bow. Heteronyms require
There you go. So that Claro correctly says, I shot my bow at the man as he began to bow. So if you're proofing, if you're trying to read and understand something, it's saying the right words the right way. So you can concentrate on listening and understanding and thinking and working rather than concentrating on, oh, that sounded a bit funny, and takes you out the moment, breaks your deep work, you know, that kind of thing. We provide a big range of voices. So that happened to be a English accent, if you like. Some people like a Fiona voice we've got, which is a Scottish accent.
Claro Read is widely used to help with reading, writing, and more generally computer use and study. Alistair will give a brief overview of how it's used for using high quality.
There you go. So that's fair. Voice choice is very personal. That's why I ship so many voices. Some people find the kind of that very regular kind of English voice of Daniel is a nice voice because it sounds of good quality. Some people find it far too plummy. It's like, yes, another thing kind of nagging at them. So they want to have a different voice. Fiona's quite popular. because it's Scottish, I guess it's regarded as being a bit kind of, classless perhaps. We also have Irish English accents, Australian, American, and of course, male and female. We also do different languages. If you've got somebody who's French or German, Korean, Finnish, we have voices.
Claro Read is widely used to help with reading, writing, and more generally computer use and study. Alistair will give a brief overview.
You can also, if you're coming from a corporate setting, there are voices already on Windows. They're not as good as the ones we ship, but if you think about deployment and ease of getting the stuff out there, you can use them. There's some, I see some questions coming up, Connor. Do you want me to check on them as we go along?
No, so Lane Urquhart just said that she's impressed that he knew how to say, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it myself, Alistair. Is it Milngavie?
Milguy.
So yeah, she was impressed.
And it's the English voice as well, not the Scottish one. Nice. There's a Sangeeta voice.
Using high quality speech to read back web pages, PDFs, Word documents, email, writing and proofing your work, including
That's Sangeeta, an Indian English voice. In India, it's used, our software is used in schools, and they call it auntie apparently, because it often sounds like an auntie. It's really interesting. Do you want a voice that sounds more like your accent, because that's acceptable to you, because that sounds more like you're reading out to yourself? Or do you want a voice that's very different from your accent, because that means you pay more attention to it, and therefore the words might go in better? I'd love to do, going back to university, I'd love to do some research on that. The important thing I think is voice choice is very personal. So we ship a lot of voices, the best ones we can with Claro Read. And there's a little program that comes with it, gets more Claro voices. You can run that. There's 80 voices you can choose from. There's actually more available if you particularly need them. So just run that, got Claro Read, get as many voices as you like. You can change the speed of the voice, because it's all synthesized speech.
Claro Read is widely used to help with reading, writing, and more generally computer use and study. Alistair will give a brief overview.
If everyone here has worked with blind people, they often turn up their speech synthesizer, the bit that's speaking, so it goes really fast. Because of course, for them, the voice is their primary way of interacting with the computer. Everything they do is through that voice. So the faster it goes, the faster they can get to use it, then the more productive they can be, the more control they can have. For most of our users, they can see the screen okay. You might have a bit of vision impairment, you want to blow things up a bit, but generally you can see the screen, maneuver around it. So you might want to speed up the voice if you're doing something like scanning through a document, if you're trying to pick up main points, if you're trying to get through a volume of work the first time, and then you'll go back later and read it over. So you might speed up the voice for that. On the other hand, you might slow down the voice if you want to do more of a kind of proofing, word by word kind of introduction.
Claro Read is widely used to help with reading, writing, and more generally computer use and study. Alistair will give a brief.
I don't particularly like that. It sounds too slow to me, but users have said, no, I really like to slow it down so I can just really, really concentrate on what's happening and follow along as well. Because of course, people may not be able to read terribly fast. If you find it helpful, you of course change the highlighting. And Mo, you noticed it was highlighting a sentence at a time. So you could do it instead of word at a time. You could put like some colors on it as well.
Claro Read is widely used to help with reading, writing, and more generally computer use and study. Alistair.
And again, another really interesting research project, I think, is how much kind of highlighting do you want? How much is too distracting? And you can go the whole hog, if you like, and do, let's have a background of yellow. And there, that'll really bring out each sentence.
Claro Read is widely used to help with reading, writing, and more generally computer use and study. Alistair will give a brief overview.
There we go. So that's graying out the background, so you're not distracting you. It's highlighting the sentence and it's highlighting the word as it's speaking as it goes along. So that's a lot of stuff happening visually. You can turn it on that way. There's no There's no wrong ways to use assistive technology. I think that's a bit much. So just cognitively, there's a lot of stuff going on the screen. I think possibly that's distracting for people. So the default is just a sentence at a time. But you can, of course, combine any kind of level of it.
Claro Read is widely used to help with reading, writing.
There we go. I'm going to turn the voice up again. What's the demo will take forever. There we go. Great. So I spent this time, I've been reading in Microsoft Word. So I can proof back things. I can check stuff I've written. I can get stuff into it. But of course, we want to work in more places than just Word. So I'm going to go open this PDF file. I'm actually going to open in the standard application, which of course is Adobe Reader, which I literally just installed 5 minutes ago. So hopefully it's working. There we go. And I can, oh, there we go. It's going to do its thing. And voila. So long. There we go. So I've got my PDF file here. I've got a touch screen, so it's changed the mode. Don't worry about that. Here you go. So I'm clicking somewhere in my document. I click on play again on the Claro toolbar.
Molly was dead to begin with.
And it's going to read up there for some reason. Who knows why that is?
Mind. I don't mean to say that I know.
Okay, now I've clicked that box. Let's go and open it again. Come on, Adobe Reader. You can do it. You can do it. Used by millions.
Molly was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register.
For reasons which I'm sure become apparent, it's getting a bit confused with the way it's reading, but it will read a PDF file from beginning to end, again with highlighting through it. And that's important because, you know, PDF files are a very big standard thing you want to read. This one's reading and it's selecting OK. If Adobe Reader is working, fine. Well, just as well, we have a fallback. So it works with Adobe Reader. Trust me on that one for this second. But we've also got a our own PDF reader. There we go.
Hand 2. Old Molly was as dead as a doornail. Mind. I don't mean to.
So you can read PDF files which you've got from somewhere, which have text in them, and they read aloud. Now, the important thing about this is an accessible PDF file. So if I want to better bravely open it again in Adobe Reader. There you go. You can see quickly. Maybe that'll help it. You can see I can select text. There we go. Selectable text. This is a fundamental phrase, accessible PDF file. It contains actual text that can be read out. PDF is it's a great format for printing and sending documents around the place, but it's a kind of container. You could put anything into a PDF. So you could put, for example, this into it, which is the this is also a page of text, but there's no text in this document. This is an inaccessible PDF file. And most users, most of the time, will never tell the difference. You open a PDF file in Adobe Reader, there it is. You can read it, it's fine. For our users, of course, they need to be able to read the text out. There needs to be actual text in it. There's no text in this document. This is a picture, it's a photograph of this page put into this thing. So if I go and do my selection again, I can't select the text. There's nothing there. It's an inaccessible PDF. I am simplifying massively, but there we go. So of course we have a fix for that in Claro. So I bring up Claro. I've got this scanned button down the toolbar. So I can take the PDF file, which is inaccessible, that can't be read out by ours or anyone else's software. Go. And it's going to go through a process now called OCR, scanning, optical character recognition. So it's going to take the PDF file, it's going to process it, it's going to analyze it, and it's going to recognize the text in the document. There you go. So it's come up with the fact that all these bits are text areas. You could edit this and change the reading order and do all that kind of fancy stuff. But for now, just click on the Save as PDF button. Yeah, so it's converted that document into an accessible format. Now, when I open it, I've got, I've clicked some button.
People who either cannot see well or have little mobility in their hands are bound to struggle with a device that has 100 different keys, many with more than one function. Millions of non-disabled.
There you go. So it's OCR'd it, it's converted this inaccessible PDF file into one that reads. And you notice it now reads properly. Remember I was saying earlier, I was being simplistic in terms of there are some PDFs with images in, and some with text in, and the ones with images don't read, and the ones with text do. It's not entirely true. A PDF file, even with text in, like the one I'm trying to demo with, can still be so internally mucked up that it looks okay on the screen, but your software can't read it. So that's probably what's happened here. As you can see, I've taken what was a picture, I've turned it into a PDF file, which looks identical, and it now reads fine with Claro Read. So the advantage of this is your users are getting Word documents, or you're getting Word documents, you're getting PDF files, lots of different places, and you can convert them into a readable format. You've got access to files. And this works with images as well, if you've got those. It works with physical scanners. So there's a scan from paper button. So somebody's got a scanner. You can take a book, put it in there, press that button, scans it into a computer, turns it into an accessible PDF file, read it back with highlighting, or edit it or copy from it. So I can do files, PDF files, image files. I can do physical paper documents with an actual physical scanner. Okay, there's still some other stuff on the screen sometimes that I want to be able to read, which isn't necessarily accessible, which I normally have access for. So I've got another button here, scan from screen. It turns my mouse pointer into a cursor, like into a crosshairs like that. And I can just select now the screen. It'll capture.
Version 1. You will be able to access Claro Spielk Android for free, with no login required. Without login, you will...
And it'll read it back. That's useful if you're dealing with something where you can't get the content. So it's not a file you convert, like a PDF file, but it's something like Google Books. I would look it up, you know what I mean? If you go to Google Books, you get a page of something text on the screen and it looks perfect, but you can't actually read it because it's not selectable text. Cats. Well, that's marvelous. Let's get that text. Let's get cats up. Let's not get cats up. Yes, anything that's on the screen, you can pull out and you can make it read. So if you're using a third-party piece of software, if you're using Microsoft Teams in a web browser, if you're using some kind of banking or warehousing piece of software for your work, you can just drag and select and it'll read it out. There we go. So, it's big enough. It'll just read out the text you want to get. So any old bit of text you can see on the screen, you can still make it read by kind of selecting it. So you've got access to anything that appears on the computer screen, anything that's on paper, and anything that's already a file. Of course, one of the things people use Claro for is just to select things.
The importance of Second World War. Example of good TTS. Lots of people find changing the...
There you go. You just select some text and it reads it out. It's not doing anything very clever. It's sending like a copy, if you're nerdy. It's sending copy to the screen, to the computer program, and seeing what turns up the clipboard and reading it out. But that's super. I mean, never mind this click play and it reads the whole document. You can just select one thing at a time.
Screen tinting lot. The Americans won. Capturing text.
Very immediate. People get it right away. Speaks with a good voice. Works well. And this is the brilliant thing.
The Americans won with French held. The Americans won with French held. The Americans won with...
If you're struggling to get a bit, you can just read it over again. This is the super thing about using text-to-speech, something like Claro Read. There's no stigma. There's no having to ask somebody else. Could you read that over to me again? Could you read it again? Could you read it again? Really not getting it. And then you give up. With a computer, read that to me, and it can read it as many times as you want to. Keep selecting it, keep reading it back until you get it. It works at your own pace. You can work independently. You don't have to ask somebody else. You can work through all this reading you've got to do by using speech to get around the fact you can't read very well, or it's stressful for you by just selecting the text. You can OCR and print things. You can get, so everything is now accessible through speech. You have problems with speech, you can get it all there. And that's 90% probably of what people use Claro Read for. Cool. So that's my kind of quick overview of Claro Read. We have lots of other cool stuff, especially now in Claro Read 9. So I'm going to cover Claro Read 9 stuff. Ooh, is that deliberate spell error? So one thing that's improved in Claro Read 9 was our grammar checking. I do check. There we go. John thinks they're ready now. Word has no problem with that. It's not spotted it's an error. Claro Read spotted it's an error
There.
and suggested the
There.
correct one. It also gives you a bunch of pictures to use.
There. There.
For there, they're not terribly different. It gives you pictures to help you disambiguate which one you're looking at. You can turn those off if you're working in an office and you don't have
There.
little pictures in your UI. And little
Contraction of a they are. They're the cutest puppies ever.
and of course example phrases for each of these difficult these are homophones, of course, there, and there. So Claro Read picks up homophones and will suggest the correct one. And of course, it all speaks.
Belonging to or associated with the people or things previously mentioned. The beagle is their dog.
And of course, there's also definitions of everything.
Of them or themselves.
There we go. So you've got the ability to use speech again, but this time you're spell checking. So Claro Read's being smart in that it's recognizing the problems and trying to fix them up, but it's also allowing you lots of speech, lots of different alternatives, synonyms,
There.
so you can approach your writing, find the right word you want, again, all using speech. Or if you don't want to use all that stuff, you
There.
can simplify it down a bit.
Line down.
So that's a great thing in Claro Read 9 is this new kind of grammar checking, which is much smarter. And that's coming out of our association with Lingit, our parent company. So we've talked about reading, we've talked about spell checking very quickly, showing you how it can spot errors that other applications like Word can't. So your spelling's correct, you're sending stuff in, you know it's right, you're calmer, you're more productive, you're not spending all the time agonizing over this red squiggly underline. Claro Read's helping you check it. Good. A lot of people find working with computer screens with text much better if they're not doing black on white text. Black on white text is just visually not working for them. A lot of people dyslexic find that. So we've had a piece of software for many years called Claro View, and we just upgraded it. So I'll do this is how it used to work, and it's still cool. What it does is it puts a tinted overlay over the screen. So everything's become, instead of black and white, you can see it's got a tint over it, and I can choose which color of the tint. There we go. I can make it less or more so. And people have loved that for years. It takes away that black on white thing. They can see that better. It just works for them. Oh yeah, they say, I can read that now, it's great. But it occurred to us, tinting the whole screen like that isn't quite the same as the kind of physical model we're emulating. Because if you look at the physical side, people take pieces of paper, black printed on white, and they get colored sheets of plastic and put them down on top of the paper. And then they read through that. And again, similarly, much easier to work with, much easier to read. But we're not quite doing the same thing here, are we? We're tinting the whole thing. So black pixels are still becoming a bit yellow, and here they're becoming a bit purple. So we're reducing the contrast. What if we were smart and we could take the bits that were black and leave them black, but just tint the bits that were not? Like you put a plastic sheet over a white piece of paper. The black text isn't sending any photons towards your eyes, it's black. So it shouldn't turn yellow. So we did that. We implemented that this year. Claro View 3 True Black Mode, and Claro View comes with Claro Read. What I'm telling you about, part of Claro View. So you can see there, you've still got the tinting effect. I hope you can still see the tinting effect, and I can still make it greater or less and change which color it's using. But the black text on my screen is staying black right down to the edges. It's very clever. It's not like fellow nerds on the call will understand the edge of every computer graphic has little pixels of different colors. It's not just doing some crude outlines. You get this weird effect around things. It's doing everything beautifully smoothly. At 4K monitor, doesn't matter. Everything is mapping beautifully, perfectly, so that black things stay black and everything else does the tinting. That's called true black mode. And a super thing about that and the spell check in Claro Read, if you're working in an environment where you can't be using speech so much, speech is great. Speech is super powerful. But of course, your computer's then talking to you. If you're in an office, you need to have headphones on. If you're in a shared space, that can be awkward. Claro View here, tinting the screen, and the spell check in Claro Read, you can use that even if no one else, even if other people are around, even if you don't want to demonstrate the fact that you're using a piece of assistive technology, even like one that's kind of tucked out the way and looks like a productivity piece of software. So there's if you're in environments where you can't use speech, things like Claro View, the spell check can be really helpful. So that's Claro View 3, and that's in Claro Read 9. So I'm really pleased with that. Exciting. Oh, I mentioned my apps here. Oh, we have Android apps now as of this year. So we've always done apps. We've done apps for 10 years or so. iPhone, iPad, and now Android as well. And they don't have all the kind of writing features, but they have got speech. There's free versions on the website. Do go check them out. You can take a picture and it'll read back to you. Again, you're getting around that reading problems. You can do some writing. It'll spell check. It'll read it back and change the background color. So lots of those kind of basic features. But we work under the assumption, which may be wrong, that if you want to do serious productive work, you'll tend to be on a laptop, desktop, something with a keyboard and mouse. So for those, we have Claro Read for Windows and Mac and Chromebook now. Whereas these apps and things, they're super. And I mentioned them there, but I think most of our users are going to be able to probably get by quite a lot without using the apps. It's when they're sitting down working with lots of text that it's going to struggle. Although I should call out, there's now a Claro keyboard. So if any of you is an iPad user, you'll know that our apps, because it's because it's an iPad, you can only use one app at a time. You can't use Pages and something else. You can't use Word on your iPad and something else. We've done a keyboard now. So the keyboard, of course, works in any application. So now you can use Claro Keyboard with the spell check, with word prediction, with speech in Word, or in Pages, or in email, or in Outlook, or in Safari. So now you've got more of that kind of Claro Read way of we're going to make the application you're looking at speak, but on an iPad. So do check out, that comes with Claro Speak. So do check out apps. I know it's mainly about Claro Read today, but do check this. Cool. One amazingly powerful technology for people who struggle with print is speech recognition. And the best thing for speech recognition is the Dragon professional package, Dragon, the speech recognition from Nuance. And it's great, it's very powerful, but it is both the most, somebody did a survey, EA Draffen 15 years ago, surveyed students using Dragon who'd got it to help them with their reading and writing. And they found it was the most popular, life-changing piece of software in their poll. It was also, at the same time, the most hated piece of software in their poll at the same time. It's a very powerful technology, but of course, you have to set it up right, you have the microphone right, you have to learn how to use it in a certain way. When you get it, absolutely transformational, but it can be a learning curve. Although I must say, last 5 years or so, it's got way easier with things like training. But we wanted to try and make it easier for people to use Dragon and Claro Read. There's some integration with it, but primarily it's about, how can they get these fantastic bits of software to work together? We like, because that's what's good for the user. So we put a dictate button on the toolbar in Claro Read for Windows, and that will now work. So I'm now going to keep speaking at my computer, and you should see some text appear in a moment from Dragon. I can certainly hear the fan on my computer whizzing up, so that's promising. And I can see some text in the corner. I'll give it one more go. I can see that you are doing something, Dragon, because there's some text up in the top corner of my window, but perhaps you're not going to talk into Notepad today. Ah, you're not. Okay. Try it in Word, just in case. Just to confirm, speech recognition is happening.
Just to confirm.
But it is...
Speech recognition is happening, just confirm. But it is speech recognition is happening, just confirm.
There you go. So it's working in Word. I'm clicking dictate. I can then speak. Dragon's picking the text out and it's putting it into Word. And I need to have headphones on because I've got another feature turned on, which then echoes the text back. So let's just go and turn that off. This, I hope, is a better demonstration in that it won't echo back and confuse everything. Full stop, new line. There you go. So I'm using Dragon, but all I have to do is click this button on my toolbar. This won't be appropriate for a lot of Dragon users who are using it because, for example, they've got no arms and they're using the Dragon to control the whole computer. But for a lot of our users who have print impairments but are fine using a mouse and a keyboard, just be able to turn it on, turn it off is pretty perfect. So again, we're trying to make everything simpler, bring it into one place and use stuff. So I will whiz on. We've recently, Claro 9, this is big for Claro 9, especially in the workplace, I think. We've put in the reading and writing tools.
Video provides a powerful way to help you prove your point. When you click online video.
Into Microsoft Outlook. So when you're composing an email, when you've got an email, you can read it just like you would in Word. It's got, or in PDF, it's got highlighting, it's got echoing back. You can do all your spell checking things in as well. So Outlook supports arrived in Claro 9. I've shown you Claro PDF briefly. It's our self-voicing PDF reader. Also in Claro 9 is something called Writing Helper, which is one thing a lot of people struggle with is organizational stuff. This is a massive and exciting new product, and Stuart will give you a demonstration for it. But so it's trying to structure you and take you through the process of doing that writing you need to do. So I'm going to do my name. What I'm going to write about what I did on my holidays. Holes 2019-20. There we go. Let's move you up way. There we go. And I can then structure my thing. I can write my. I can use a mind mapping tool to organize it. I can put in sections. There we go. And subsections, all of which I can move around visually, so I can reorganize my things. I can then pull in different sources from web pages and PDF, pull out snippets. So it's all, there's my file I made accessible earlier. There we go. There we go. And I can take sections of that and highlight them, and it'll then pull them out.
With stat.
There we go. Of course, it all speaks. Yep.
Sorry, we've just had a question from Malcolm. He said, presumably you have to own Dragon to use the dictate feature in Claro Read.
Absolutely. The button turns up if Dragon's installed, otherwise it doesn't.
Cool. Thank you.
The built-in Microsoft Windows one is not really good enough. So there we go. So I'm using Writing Helper. I can pull out different snippets from one of my sources.
They remain one of the most.
And then I can go and edit them. I can identify the different sources. It'll warn me if I haven't done my referencing, because if you're struggling with print and writing, one of the things you cut and paste, you cut and paste, and you cut and paste, and suddenly you're up in front of the plagiarism board. Really bad. So it helps you with identifying where you got your bits of text from. So I can write, this is from John Lamb, is it happens to be, I think. There we go. So there we go. And then if I go to, I can organize the snippets of text I've got. I can look at what I've actually written, and I can send it out to a Word document then. So it's very structured, takes you the process of writing. In this case, version 1, an essay. That's a super new product I don't have time to look at, but that comes at the moment from version 1 with Claro Read. Final thing we've got in Claro Read 9, it's about to ship, is an extra editor. I won't show you, it's no time, but you can edit the icons and the buttons in Claro Read So I showed you like using Dragon from Claro. You could also then launch different programs. So say you didn't like to use our mind mapping tool called Claro Ideas. Say you wanted to use Inspiration instead. You could put Inspiration as one of the items in the Claro toolbar. So you could quickly put all your AT in one place. So kind of extras list there, and I can edit what's in that then. I can put in websites as well. So say you wanted to link to Microlinks learning platform, you could put a link in there for your users, so that they could then, if they had any questions about the software they're using, link straight to the training course for Claro or for any other bit of assistive technology. So you could tell them, oh, you're trying to use Claro, want some training, click on the link you put in extras. So that's super. Oh, lastly, Claro for Mac's just come out, another version, compatible with Big Sur, now supports Pages. It's got a dictate button, and that uses the Apple dictate system that's built into Apple Mac. It's not as good as Dragon, but you know, it can be really useful for some people. Conscious of time, so getting and using it. Oh yeah. Fine. We do webinars. We do online training, or we get from places like Microlink or our partners, where we've worked together on content. You can get demo versions from the website, cider program if you want to sign up for that and get feedback and things. And I've been through the main new stuff on Claro 9. More information again, of course, on our website. Tech support and find the product. Windows, Claro. All our products are structured this way on the help page. You've always got release notes for any of our products, and you can see more details about what's new in Claro 9. And of course, yeah, there we go. And what we're doing. Much more details about word prediction and other features. There's a lot in Claro. I just haven't had. There's word prediction, for example. So there we go. Any questions or comments or anything else?
Yeah, there was one question. It says, you presume you need Dragon, the own Dragon, if you want to use the dictate feature in Claro Read.
Yes, you must.
Yeah.
You must, because it's calling
Right.
Dragon under the hood. If you don't have Dragon, it simply won't show the button.
Okay, and Helen Bryan wanted the email address to answer a question on Claro for Chrome question. Oh, you've done that.
I've just passed my email over now. Thanks.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah, cool. We have a Chrome extension as well. It works much like the Windows one. You've got play and stops, you can read documents back, works in Google Docs, works in Word Online. It's got an OCR function again. You can scan from the screen. You've got word prediction and screen tinting. So all that's available for Chrome. So it both works on Chrome on Mac and OS and also on Chromebooks. Chromebooks are really interesting because they've really appeared hugely in education at the secondary school level. We haven't seen them yet turn up in universities or workplaces, although Google's pushing it a lot. It seems to be, from talking to Google and our own observations, that it's iPads at primary school, Chromebooks at secondary school, and university and workplace is Windows machines. Like that, continue on.
Right.
Don't.
So if I may just do a quick plugin on Claro. We've created a
Nasser, sorry, Nasser, just quickly, I've got one more question that's come through, Alistair. Elaine has asked, does it only read in English or other languages?
Read in any other, yes, we have support 30 different languages, including Swedish, French, German, Korean, Arabic, Hebrew, Italian, Spanish.
Thank you.
And also has if you're using a non-English version, there's also a translation feature. So you can select some text in English, say, it'll translate it into Swedish and then speak it in Swedish. So you can select text that's not in your language and hear it go back to you in your language.
Amazing. That's amazing. So if I may just quickly remind, Claro is one of the suite of assistive technology we built into a new AT Learning Center. We've got an @ sign, so it's just a symbol for @ AT. And it does basically allow micro-learning as well as the full e-learning and to students or to people working we always encourage face-to-face training, at least for 1 or 2 sessions, and also supported by self-learning. But that it's very unique because it's a full e-learning platform. So we could actually set courses for individuals. They can time and schedule it. It's like a campaign. And also they do assessments to make sure they've learned the parts. And that is now basically launched. And hopefully we should be able to provide that both to corporate and DSA students very shortly. And Claro was the first to go on there, but we currently support Dragon, TextHelp, MindView, and a few other titles are being developed. Now, most of these are multilingual as well. So we should be able to provide the French, Japanese, Chinese, Portuguese, and hope, that's a kind of a global platform. Anyway, enough of my plug-in advertising. And any other questions? Fantastic. It seems you've done such a great job, Alistair.
Okay, that was a quick overview of Claro 9. Lots more about other products and things. Do message us or Connor, and we'll be able to answer any questions.
Of course. Well, thank you for your time today, and it's been extremely helpful. And hopefully we'll invite you for future launches of your new product and any other hopefully clever features that you've got, because we are really hoping to help students transition to workplace, taking the skills they acquire in the university to be able to apply in the workplace. So we always identify the software which are used by corporate sector as well. And this is where we want to ensure that whatever we get here, it's actually easily transferable to a work environment to maximize the chance of success and make sure that they don't underachieve at work, because a lot of universities, the students do graduate with good degrees, but sadly, they don't actually end up taking it to workplace. They don't declare the disability and they're not really performing to their best. Okay, thank you very much, Alistair, and it's really lovely to see you again, and thanks for your help.
Thank you.
Well, thank you to all the participants. And we'll see you in another webinar very soon. Thank you.
Ooh.